Thanks, Zoom.
Right. So,
Yay.
a Catholic, a Protestant, and a Norse pagan walk into a bar, or walk into a podcast, rather.
Are you
and
sure?
we decide to have a roundtable on idolatry. What could go wrong?
Literally, nothing could possibly ever go wrong. Sincerely, Severus Snape.
Oh, I got about 25 pieces of
You see-
evidence that came before this.
You see, Mike, it's funny because it's a Harry Potter reference. That's what the kids are into these days, right? It wasn't funny. Hi, Mike. How's it going?
It was fine until you started mentioning Harry Potter.
Harry Potter's a fantastic series. What are you talking about?
Yes, I know it's a fantastic series. It's the fact that you are bringing it up.
Should our guest host brought it up? You're right. I knew we should have gone with the script. We meticulously planned it out beforehand. I just had to break it right now. Hi, Mike.
Hi, and hi, Haley, who is our guest for today.
Hello.
Yes, I shall introduce our friend Haley. So she's this person I know.
Hold it, we got to do the intro.
Oh, crap!
And welcome, one and all, on YouTube and in podcast land. You are listening to Tangent Kings. Roll it. Welcome back once again to the Tangent Kings podcast. I am, of course, your humble servant, G. Michael Francis. And I'm here with my partner in crime, Mr. J.J. Benks. How you doing today, sir? Oh, for God's sake, say something.
What's my line? Oh, I'm doing great, Mike.
Yes, it's called improv. Have you not heard of improv? He is going to make me big money. He is going to make me big money. I have to remember.
Hey, joke's on you. I save 15% by switching car insurance to Geico. And they're not even the...
I save 50%, perhaps more, by switching from Geico.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were going to introduce our guest who I sort of got introduced.
Yeah, our fantastic. So yeah, a very good friend of mine from many years ago, who I probably mentioned about a grand total of 5,000 times on this show since I started. My good friend Haley, who is our friend to give us some third-party perspective on the joys of idolatry. The joys of idolatry by Haley. With a forward by Oscar Wilde.
Oh my goodness.
No,
You know me.
Sorry.
You know me so well. Haley, it's great to have you on the show tonight.
It's good to be here. I've been watching you guys since the show started. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm here.
She's here. I was gonna say something else. Dry your hands on us. But that's a Family Guy reference. But yeah, no, Haley's been a long-time listener.
I was going to
ours.
make a game theorist reference, but I forgot the lyrics right at the last second.
Yeah, Haley's been a long-time listener for the show, and she's given us some excellent feedback. Like, I really like that, but that part sucked. And I'm like, that's true. And other parts like, that part sucked, but I like that part. And I'm like, well, you could. No, I never told her that. No, she's fantastic, and it's really great having her.
And that duck quack's going in at 4 minutes.
And 4 minutes in Carden. All right, we're off to a great start. When we used to run a writing club, we actually ran 2 writing clubs together back in college, and it was a lot of fun. So with the topic we had on, I thought let's have her on and let's have her give us some of her thoughts on the subject matter, which is
just to add a little spice on the top.
Yeah.
As if it couldn't get any spicier between a Catholic and a Protestant.
He shall throw the first stone, shall be crowned a pope. I'm just kidding.
That's not exactly how that works.
I have spoken.
That's not how books are made.
Is that how gods are? That's how gods are made. That's the
I thought gods were eternally begotten. But well, okay. I just went
Hey,
into a whole
hey,
thing about gods.
Mike,
but
Mike,
yes.
Mike. It's tough to be a god. Da 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 da.
Da-da-da.
This is the Viking Blue talking. Apparently, this makes me very, very.
You're
irreverent.
drinking mead too.
Yeah.
I'm drinking the other flavor.
What?
I was just about
drinking
to
the
ask you what you were
hibiscus.
drinking.
It's Tobuscus.
You're drinking the hibiscus. I'm drinking the apple flavor.
I heard Tobuscus and I thought Toby Games highlights.
And then I got this. It's my maiden voyage in my new glass. It says Loki made me do it.
So to give you guys some context, so
I'm drinking Jameson's.
Oh, aren't you special?
Yes, I'm drinking. Just for full appreciation, I'm drinking Irish whiskey with a cross from Jerusalem and a flag of the Kingdom of France in the background.
That's wonderful.
Oh, okay. I was gonna do this bit, but I don't care about the bit now. Mike, tell Haley about the flag behind you. Tell her about that.
It's the flag of the Kingdom of France. What else do you want me to say?
Tell her about when it was used.
Well, prior to the revolution.
There you go.
Ooh, cool.
Of course, it could have been the Bourbon Restoration. I might be a little fuzzy on that.
Keep it PG, Mike. Jesus.
Do I have to go through how many regimes?
I'm at 2 bleeps. That's my limit. You're cut off, Benks. Okay.
I was literally just about to go through the 8 regime changes that France went through over the course of a century.
You still can.
Well, I'm not going to because that's not what the topic is about.
we could tweak the topic. Talk about the.
I don't have a Twitter.
I'm not sure Norse paganism has a lot of input on the French Revolution. Not a lot there.
There's a lot. No.
I know the Freemasons do. That's all I know.
I'm pretty sure that the Norse pagans.
All I know is you had some people mad on one side. The king's going, oh no.
Strangely, the Havamal is silent on the topic of French revolutions.
Well, duh.
That was the real topic for tonight, and now I'm terribly disappointed in my days ruined.
Anyway,
I did find a verse in the Havamal that said, "I made good use of the disguise I used. Sincerely, Loki." No, I was gonna say was to get a little bit more serious, to explain the context of her class. We used to do readings of Norse mythology by Neil Gaiman, who's a fantastic author. And Haley, in your opinion, would you say that you could probably surmise all of Norse mythology by just saying that one line on your glass?
Yes.
Loki made it. Loki. It's Loki's fault.
If Loki didn't do it,
I do have a question
blame him
on that.
anyway and make him fix it.
I do have sort of a question along that line, though.
Yeah.
Okay, when you read about Thor, is he like a little short, 4-foot gray guy that kind of sounds like Michael Shanks with a head cold?
I'm afraid the answer is no.
Well, the description of Thor is this like big, huge dude with like a red beard.
I mean, I'm familiar,
So-
but I was trying to make a Stargate reference. I was literally just watching Stargate SG-1 like 5 minutes
Gotcha.
ago.
I should have. Yeah, I should have. Yep.
I should have known he was referencing that.
Yeah, a little guy with that sounds oddly a lot like Michael Shanks with a head cold.
Yes.
Oh, Haley, did you know that the guy that played Alan Shore in Boston Legal was in Stargate, the first movie?
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
I don't venture much out of Star Trek, so.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh well, you'd like Stargate SG-1, I think. No, it's pretty good. But that's not the topic. And whoa,
You know what I will say?
I totally missed the desk.
Okay, so I'll describe Stargate like this, and if I butcher it, fine. But I love Stargate, but I don't watch the show all the way through. It's like this: picture Star Trek,
Okay.
set now, and the Egyptians come back in
The
space sci-fi
Egyptian
battle
gods,
suits.
quote unquote.
The picture. So let's start over, okay? It's like Star Trek, except set now, and the Egyptians come back. The Egyptian gods come back,
Wow.
and they've got battle armor, and we have guns, and the guns kill them, and we win because America.
That's an awfully crude way of putting it.
That's the joke. That's half the joke. So, but
Seems
no,
like
it's fun. It's
You'll
fun.
find it on Netflix. Look up Stargate SG-1.
Okay.
Yeah, if you watch the movie Stargate, it's by itself. It's a really fun movie.
You know what? I think Richard Dean Anderson was better as Jack O'Neill.
Well, I mean, you had Kurt Russell, so you don't like Kurt. Did you just make a wincy face at Kurt Russell?
Like I said, I liked his name already. Richard Dean Anderson better in the role.
You're breaking my Guardians of the Galaxy 2 heart, Mike. Hey, I know that sounds bad that I killed your mom and stuff. All right, now you pissed me off. Oh, that's a third bleep. I'm cut off now.
In every sense of the word.
But yeah, no, jokes aside though. Yeah, it's great to have you on the show, Haley. So kind of getting a little bit more into the main topic we had on idolatry. This is a topic suggested by my friend Rico. That's not his real name. That's just how he preferred to be referred to.
Of all the things you could have come up with, Rico?
He says, dude, can I be referred to as Rico? And it's like, yes, you can.
She didn't see anything.
Yes, Rico Kaboom. It's a reference to a Nickelodeon show and movie. 2 movies, 3 movies, and a TV show. But yeah, no, he requested we kind of talk about some of the liturgical differences between Catholicism and Protestant Christianity, and what each of the faiths kind of thought about that, because there's obviously some differences there. And then Haley to offer her like a third perspective as well.
Some Norse mythology, just as a little sprinkle on the top of habanero pepper.
Just idolatry with a little topping of havamal, and it was Loki's fault.
It's always Loki's fault. Just like at work, it's always my fault.
It's always sunny in Loki's pit. Okay, it's always overcast, but who's counting? I wouldn't know anything about this. I've never been there.
Why do you think we have the gas bags?
We have gas bags?
Oh.
Did I forget about those? I probably forgot.
He's going to make me big money one day. He is going to make me big money one day.
Well, I found out that Geico actually doesn't save you money on car insurance, so that'll be a work in progress.
Yes, we covered that.
I'm learning slowly.
You have no idea.
Why is it so humid here in this state? Specifically in my room.
We are 15 minutes
why
into this, dude. Should we just roll into it?
I'm improving this until you tell me to stop. Stop. Okay.
Well, stop.
Yeah. But yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your perspective, Mike, and then I feel like I've talked long enough, so why don't you guys do your thing?
Well, you didn't quite say entirely what
the topic
Rico
specific.
said.
Oh, Rico, right. So thank you for reminding me. No, he said that he wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that, and because there's been doctrinal differences for a couple centuries about that. A common critique of Catholicism I heard growing up in a Protestant church was that Catholics pray to idols and they worship Mary, or pray to Mary when they should only worship Jesus.
Yeah, this is one I've heard quite a bit.
Yep.
Growing up, especially in a half and half household.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I got it from you quite a few times.
I'm sure.
But let me open up.
I was very militant when I was a boy.
Yes, but and so was I.
Preach.
Well, before I open the catechism, one thing I noticed different between the Protestant canon and the Catholic canon, specifically when it comes to the Ten Commandments. Try saying that 5 times fast on Irish whiskey. This is going to the reel of Mike breaking Benks.
Keep going. I'll be okay.
The bingo board.
My brother's just sitting there like, yeah, that's a bingo. All right.
Even though nobody plays that anymore.
Not yet. They need to do bingo sheets.
That's a shame.
Looking at you, Bitcoin Heisenberg. Anyway.
We got to have him back on.
Please.
Anyway, as I was saying, Catholics and Protestants tend to read the Ten Commandments a little bit differently. Specifically when it comes to, in your canon, what would be the second commandment.
Is my canon a 17-pounder?
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Canon coming from the Greek meaning order.
I've been waiting 20 years to make that pun. No joke. Anyway, keep going.
Q Brandon F. Plural of canon is canon. Anyway.
This is going great.
You're not going to let me speak. I'm not going to tell.
But behind the rabbit. Please keep going.
The way it's read in the Protestant canon, and this is to my understanding, is you have the first commandment, I am the Lord thy God, you shall have no other gods before me. And the second commandment is thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. The whole anything represented above earth and in the heavens, such and such. And we'll even get accused by Protestants of just cutting that out of the Ten Commandments, because our Ten Commandments goes from I am the Lord thy God, you shall have no others before me, and thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. And the reason it goes to that, it's not because we're just ignoring that so that we can have statues in our churches. It's because we read that as part and parcel to the first commandment. So you have, to my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that historically, whenever our culture had an idol, it's not so much that the idol was representative of a god. The idol itself was the god, or at the very least, a medium through which the god was channeled.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second to regain my train of thought.
I have a concern though.
What's that?
I think the reason why that's not in the Catechism and the Ten Commandments in the Catholic version is because I think you just want to build statues in your churches.
Didn't I just? Anyway.
I'm on to you, crabs.
Well, let me just read from the Catechism really quick here. And this is paragraphs 112 to 114. So bear with me. This is going to take a minute.
Can you just give us the Spark Notes? Or kind of just give us
Well, I'll try. Yeah, I'll try my best to do just the Spark Notes. But
okay.
It states that the first commandment, which includes the thou shalt not have any unto thee any graven image. Excuse me.
Bless you.
This is first and foremost, this is a condemnation of polytheism. As I said before, it's not so much that the statue was representative or a symbolic representation of the god, historically speaking, that the idol itself either was the god or a channel of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty long, but
Yeah. I mean,
the Spark. Here's the Spark Notes version.
Yeah,
Okay, and,
yeah.
I should just go off of what I've written in my notes.
yeah.
When it's idolatry, or strictly speaking, an idol
Mhm.
is a created thing which distracts from giving the due worship and reverence to God,
Mhm.
and is in turn worshipped in his place, which
Mhm.
in this modern age could take on many forms. It could be, especially in American culture, you got fame, power, money, sex.
Booze. Oh,
Yes, and booze.
I'm sorry.
Whoa, don't go too adult there, Benks.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
I am not a priest.
Oh, I was talking to Dad. He's in the other room. If that's not sacrilegious, I don't know what is. Haley, what's your hot take?
Well, hold on, I'm not done.
Sorry, but keep going.
So here's the short version of what I wanted to get across. So we have, for example, this beautiful crucifix behind me, which comes from Jerusalem.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
And also I have a little statue of St. Francis of Assisi on my desk, which I got
like
at confirmation.
Is that like an action figure almost?
No, it is not.
Catholic action figure, yeah!
Oh, good Lord.
It's like St. Francis looks up to... It's like the scene from Hercules, except instead of it being like Zeus and Hercules, it's St. Francis. And he's like, well, you gotta do some more stuff. It's like, God, I'm an action figure!
That is not how Catholic theology works or Catholic salvation works.
That has to be a t-shirt. It's just you going like, that's not how it works, Benks.
I'll make a note. Anyway. But yeah, you see you're walking around, you see a Catholic, for example, you see me kneeling before the crucifix praying.
Mm-hmm.
Any Catholic worth his salt knows that I'm not praying to the crucifix. It's like, duh. Realize I'm using the crucifix as, to engage my senses, to draw my attention to Christ himself in this context.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have the saints. Well, if that's a sort of different topic altogether,
Mm-hmm.
where it comes to like the intercessory prayer with the saints. It's not that they have power. We're praying to them that they have power in and of themselves. A prayer to the saints is what's called intercessory prayer. It's basically the same thing as
you said an accessory to prayer?
Intercessory.
Oh, my bad. I misheard you.
Oi. What that means, it's basically the same thing as me asking you to pray for me over for something.
Right.
Now the fun thing about being saved, if you will, after you die, your soul is no longer confined to is no longer bound by the confines of time and space. So you ask your patron saint or even a past family member to pray for you. You're asking them to pray for you, basically, because the prayer of the righteous availeth much. And I think that comes from St. James, the Epistle of James. Yeah, that's the long and short of it. And I could go into more detail, but we do have a lot to get into. We only have about half an hour left. So
Right, and I've definitely cracked enough intercessory jokes, interjecting jokes. That's definitely a lot of me talking.
Big money.
Musa. He gets that reference.
Thank you, Chaplain Ward.
You're welcome. But and I mean, the Protestant perspective that I grew up with was just literally, that's nothing to add there. It's just anything that gets between you, gets between, because you're supposed to go straight to God, right?
Mhm.
And anything that gets between you and connection with
And naturally,
the Almighty.
even good things can get in between you and God. Like even that Saint Benedict medal can become an idol if it's used improperly.
Even this, Mike.
Yes. Duh.
Man.
If it gets in the way of your journey to God.
Cue Halo reference. Anything that gets in the way of the great journey must be destroyed. But yeah, but that's all so as far as the Protestant perspective, obviously I'm sure there's a lot of people that might have more of a detailed thought on that, but that was kind of the best that I could kind of come up with. Haley, why don't you share with us your thoughts? Educate me on what your perspective is, and because I know that we've been friends for a long time, obviously, and I know that you've had we've both had a lot of perspectives that have changed over the years, and you've got definitely a lot of nuance with how you approach things, which I appreciate a lot about you. But yeah, overall, what are your kind of thoughts on what does kind of idolatry look like in Norse paganism, and kind of how does Norse paganism kind of approach some of these topics, you think?
Oh, Norse paganism by definition is idolatry. Having other gods, check. I have an altar with graven images, check. The kind of religion based system that I have is what that commandment, both of them were made for. I'm more familiar with the Protestant interpretation than I am with the Catholic one, if there's much of a difference at all. I'm also familiar with the whole like, oh, well, Catholics are committing idolatry with the saints and stuff. And
you have no idea how many times I've heard that over the years.
I can't imagine.
Coming from within my own family.
Oh my gosh. No, I can't imagine.
It was a little nicer.
Oh, good. Yeah, like I don't know.
Like
it always
I grew up in a half and half household, so
that must have been fun.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Could be.
Technically speaking, I do live now in a half and half household, and we get along just fine.
Oh, good. Good.
Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted.
It's all good. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've heard that idolatry is like, people define it differently. It's having other gods. It's, like you said, having things, anything could be idolatry, which.
And like I said, even good things can become idols. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. It's just these things just in my head.
Yeah.
I was actually.
Welcome to our show.
Anyway, I was actually just watching Father Casey, who he has a YouTube channel called Breaking in the Habit, and he talks about a certain kind of idolatry, which I never would have thought of, because you have even within the ranks of Catholics who care more about how the liturgy is conducted rather than focusing on, okay, what is the focal point of the worship? That in and of itself could become a form of idolatry. And I prefer the Tridentine Mass to the Novus Ordo. It's actually something me and my dad came up with. I'm traditional, but I'm not a traditionalist. Meaning, as long as the principles are preserved, as long as the worship is oriented correctly, I don't mind how it's presented. Mm-hmm. And I've even attended church with my in-laws who are Baptists. I have no problem with their worship. It's oriented the correct way. It's a lot different than a Catholic Mass, certainly different than a Tridentine Mass. Try mixing that up, especially with like a high Tridentine Mass. Let me Anis Angelicus. Our God is an awesome God who reigns.
God, PTSD is kicking in. But anyway, yeah, Haley, you were saying.
Flashback.
I promise I actually do sing a lot better than that.
Yeah. Before Mike gives me any more Vietnam flashbacks, why don't you finish?
I should not laugh at that.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about the Bible possibly being an idol. Because I was
That is a
like,
good point, actually, because I was actually just thinking that at work.
oh,
And I was trying to organize some thoughts. I was like, yeah, could actually scripture itself become an idol? And like I said, any good thing can become an idol if it becomes an obsession. Like I'm gonna sort of pick on the Jehovah's Witnesses because they're so easy.
They're like Mormons, but worse.
But yeah, seriously, no, you get so focused on
How many religions can we make fun of this episode? It's like it's a bunch of self burns is what this episode is. Anyway, continue.
all I know is I heard what I thought was a police siren, and I see you doubled over on your chair.
Hide the bodies.
too much sacrilege. Theus Volt.
Good one.
That was amazing.
But no, yeah, we got the.
Will
you let me speak? Anyway, darn it! No, I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Well, Haley was asking, like, what
Yeah,
is it possible that the Bible
if
could be
scripture
an
itself
idol?
can become an idol, and it certainly can, because
Yep.
Okay, now I remember the point I was going to make. Shut your mouth. When I was a gate guard on Camp Lejeune, and I had actually pulled somebody over because their sticker was wrong, and it turned into a whole fiasco. She said she was going to get her lawyer involved, and one of the civilian police officers, he pulled me over aside, and he talked to me about the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people out there who get hung up on the letter of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And they get so but my dad's master, my dad used to well, he still is. He's a martial arts instructor.
Oh.
And one term that Grandmaster taught him was dochi, which means to be drunk on one's own thought. And especially, when, like I said, I'm going to sort of pick on the Jehovah's Witnesses here because
It's so easy.
I'm already going to be obliterated by them anyway, according to their theology. But
This episode's not going to age well.
no, it's not. But they get a lot of people just get hung up on the word for word reading of scripture, that sometimes they lose the whole concept. They lose the whole theme of scripture, which is the fall of man, God's creation of man out of love, his fall, man's fall. Man comes back, he falls again, man comes back, falls again, and then Christ comes, the ultimate redemption, and the ultimate transmission of grace, if you will. People lose sight of that, but they pick like one little verse and they'll turn into like this legal document.
Yep.
Which is not what the Bible was meant for. It's meant more as like a love letter. I've heard it described as a love letter from God to his people.
It's like I heard that from Fireproof the movie with Kirk Cameron.
Was that it?
No, I think it was, but I'm just giving you a little crap. But yeah, but no, it's yeah, but Mike, you're saying that obviously that it's the thing itself versus the thing that it like the true thing versus the false thing kind of thing.
Exactly.
My PhD in theology is kicking in right now.
Oh, Stop it. Remember, pride goeth before the fall.
So does Brad Stein. We love you, Brad. That should
If
be
you're gonna
enough.
keep brown nosing him every episode.
He's gonna come in and said, "So, Benks, you brown nosing again?" It's like, I did. I've done it every episode since you've been on, and I'm not
What?
sorry for it.
He was pretty cool. He was fun to
Mhm.
listen to.
Yeah.
Especially when he mentioned Thor by name.
He did.
He did. He was like, this is
I don't
the
remember
real...
this.
Yeah, he was like, this is the real God. This isn't like Zeus. It's not
Oh,
like
yeah.
Thor. This is Jesus. I died. Sorry.
I
It was,
feel.
just,
I
it
feel like
was so funny. What?
that's
Well,
kind of
he is a
close.
comedian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was great. I loved him. He was amazing.
Well, you know, it's funny that in kind of the thing he had said, he put Zeus as a higher tier, or he put Thor than a higher
Right?
tier than Zeus.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's not, hey,
Which is funny because Zeus actually like did stuff. Thor just kind of runs around with a hammer and breaks things. But okay.
And kills Gould.
hopeful. Well, he may be breaking things, but you know, at least he's faithful to his wife. Looking at you, Zeus.
That's fair.
Ouch.
At least he's not impregnating young women and turning them into geese. No, wait. He turned himself into a goose. That's right. Was that it? I know Walt Whitman, who's a poet, said that. He's like, I'm gonna write a poem about Thor turning himself into a goose and then
Note to
caressing a
self.
young woman's thighs.
Yeah, note
Thor
to
turned
self.
himself into...
Cross-reference Greek mythology with hemp use.
Oh no.
Who would come up with that?
Banks
The
EXE
king
has stopped.
god impregnating a girl and then turning into a goose.
Banks EXE has stopped working.
Yeah. Boom.
Yes, Haley. Short answer, yes.
Yeah, but
Yes.
yeah,
Next
just sort of
question.
going off of, on a tangent here. Have either of you
Welcome
heard,
to our show.
have either of you heard the the Windows waltz?
What's that?
Look up the Windows waltz on YouTube. You'll thank me later.
Is it a meme?
Sounds familiar.
It's just some funny guy conductor. Took the old sounds of the Windows, with the startup.
I've seen this.
Yeah, hence your reaction when I pulled that joke like 2 weeks ago.
Blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
Haley, does Norse pagan scripture talk about how the earth will eventually burn up in a fiery heat death of the universe?
I believe
Really?
that's called Ragnarok.
Yeah, you can't really call it scripture because it's all of the stories were lost and rewritten by Christian monks. So like there's not even a consensus that Ragnarok is an original idea or if it's something that the Christians kind of added in as a thing. Like
Well, I mean, just to put it this way, they were trying to preserve it, so it's,
they're the reason we know anything at all.
Yeah.
But
which is a common misconception. Well, I'm not saying it's gonna so much as a misconception. It's just not a lot of people realize that a lot of what we know of the ancient world, like for example, off the top of my head, Oedipus King or the stuff that came from the Druids, all of these were preserved by Christian monks because they knew that this culture was it should be preserved for historical reasons.
Definitely. I mean, one could argue that they're kind of the reason why it was lost in the first place. But
well, I mean, there's going to be overzealous.
That's true. There's
people
always
in any camp.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's actually why, if you look back in medieval Europe, that's why a lot of European universities had papal charters.
Right.
It wasn't the Pope cramming down on them. It was the Pope. It was actually protection from the Pope from overzealous priests of a diocese willing to use the H word on anybody who went after a thesis. What did you say, Benks?
I said, you said use the H word, and we always referred to a former friend as the H word.
You just name dropped her.
You gotta bleep it out, Mike.
I will, and please drop your leg.
Oh, don't paint me like one of your French girls, Mike.
Oh dear Lord!
Hold me, Zach. I mean, Jack. Hit the
You
road,
broke him.
Jack.
You broke Mike.
Mike EXE has stopped working.
I was literally just about to hold that up.
Hold it. Okay, Windows 7. My bad.
Well, we're on Windows 10, doofus.
Oh yeah, I knew all the whole time we were on Windows 10. I was just testing you to see if you knew, because I always know exactly what operating system I'm on at all times, because I'm Batman.
If you're Batman, God help us all.
All right, I'm back. What'd I miss?
I just said, God help us all. If you're Batman.
Oh. Can you imagine? Anyway, so no, Haley.
And that's why we are the Tangent Kings, folks.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah, no, Haley, kind of talking a little bit about, you were saying a little bit that arguably Christians are the ones that were destroying the scriptures too.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard about Saint Boniface.
Saint Boniface.
Boniface.
I'm gonna be honest. You kind of got me on that one. I'll have to research that and get back to you.
Yeah, the Donor's Oak, 732 AD or 756. I don't know why those are messed up. There were Charlemagne. There was a lot of like, you don't have to blow up. I've told Benks this before. You don't have to blow up or kill people to end a civilization or a culture or a religion. Even all you have to do is replace it with something else. And there was some of that, but like you said, it wasn't everybody. There's always, there's always
going to be people who misinterpret things. Again, I'm going to highlight the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Dude, the one Jehovah's Witness can be like, this looks like a fun watch.
Yeah.
Let's shut it off.
Yeah, 2-witness rule.
He's like, yay! Oh no, I can't watch this now.
But everybody knows by now I'm a Catholic. I'm a heretic. I'm damned to hell or oblivion anyway.
Whoa.
It's fun.
Welcome to the jungle. We have Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay, I'm not going to go that far. I'll go as far as Sabaton. That's about it.
Dun, 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 dun. Haley, do you it's funny. Do you notice that like a lot of, is it just me or is like metal getting more accepted in Christian circles these days?
Well, I wouldn't call Sabaton metal.
Black Sabbath?
I don't really know Black Sabbath.
Squidward.
Oh, for you're talking to a guy who listens on its off time, listens to military marches and Gregorian chant.
I don't know where to place you in history.
Really flippin' old. Yeah, I don't bother asking how old I am. They don't bother asking me how old I am whenever I go to the doctors. No, they just carbon date me.
Okay, settle down there, Ronald Reagan. I remember when Thomas Jefferson signed the Declaration of Independence. Vote for me.
That Arafat guy's on the phone?
Arafat, I barely even know her.
Oh,
Yes, we paid her off Tell her not to go to the press until after I'm not president. Gorbachev, yeah. Arafat, yeah. She was great last time, but she needs to calm down and stop going to the press. Yes, I'll
Interesting
hold.
tangent. Yeah, I could never figure out why you have Russian names that end with EV, but they're pronounced like off, like Gorbachev or Khrushchev.
Yeah.
I never
Russian
could figure
Bob.
that out. But if you actually look when it's written in Russian, thanks, cork it. If you look at the actual how their names are actually written in Russian, for example, Gorbachev, the last two letters, the E at the end of the name is basically it's an E with an umlaut. That's basically
Yeah.
how I describe it. And that character makes the yo sound, which is how you get Gorbachev. It's actually Chov
Oh, weird.
or Khrushchev. I look like I just blew your mind there, Benks.
I was thinking like I should work in some joke about the Berlin Wall, but I'm like, no, this sounds stupid.
Coming from you, that's no surprise.
Shots fired. All right, have a good day.
Well, we are coming down to the last 15 minutes of, or is it 20 minutes? I don't know. I just have the timestamp on the top of here, and what a good it did me with the trouble we had getting this started up.
Haley, I want to make sure you get some time to actually like talk about your beliefs, obviously too. Why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of the like what is some of the kind of core beliefs of Norse paganism, and maybe a little bit of your journey on like maybe how you came to kind of be a practitioner of it.
Oh, well, that'd be a whole nother show. I've had a long road. I was actually raised more. I was raised with Wicca upstairs, and I had a Catholic grandfather downstairs. So I was raised with, some Wicca either will talk about two gods, the horn god and goddess, aspects of the divine masculine and feminine, or it'll talk about the mother, maiden, and crone, which is like a one deity with like three separate aspects. So not like the Trinity. It's like, it's weird.
So not one
Tritheism.
god and three persons.
No, it's three distinct gods in one person. It's tritheism, I think is what it's called.
Well, that's an interesting take I've never heard.
Yeah, it's and it depends on what sect of Wicca that you're listening to. And I grew up with both. So you count, 5 gods upstairs, and learning about the Christian God downstairs, it was, 6 gods. And I didn't think of it like I wasn't really raised Christian. I didn't go to church until I was about 11 years old. So I had a really weird upbringing. I wasn't raised like we usually are in America with some kind of Christianity. I've been pagan, I've been Buddhist, I was an atheist for a while. I've been around the block. I settled into Norse polytheism, heathenry, whatever you want to call it. I've been running from it for a long time, and I thought, you know what, I don't care what people think. That's just where I'm at. There's really no like tenets, there's no like commandments. It's more, there are things that are important in it, like keeping your oaths. That's really important. Not committing idolatry is important. You can look at the mythology as kind of like parables. I don't see them as like literal. Like I don't really think that, Odin flies around on an 8-legged horse, distributing gifts. But
Don't.
I instantly thought of, I'm sorry, I instantly thought of the second Atlantis movie. I bid you welcome to the Hall of Odin.
yes.
Okay, now you broke me.
Well, did you know that's actually a TV series?
No.
Apparently, a buddy of mine found that they had made like 8 episodes. And 3 of the episodes were compiled into what's now the sequel to Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
What? Tell me you didn't know about this, Benks.
Well, I didn't know about it, and I'm more of a Disney freak than he is.
Well, I know what I'm researching later.
Allegedly, you can find it on Disney Plus, but
And
I haven't seen it myself.
There's a Hall of Odin in there?
No. Atlantis.
Atlantis. Okay.
Yeah, the one with Milo Thatch and Keita.
No,
and,
she's saying that so a character in it said "Welcome to the Hall of
well,
Odin."
yeah, the character, and he's actually in the movie.
Oh.
Oh, that guy at the end. I remember that guy.
Yeah, the guy, that actor. He's a good actor, and I forget his name every time. All I know is he also plays Colonel Hargrove in Medal of Honor: Allied Assault.
Okay.
Can we guess at his name? Okay.
It's
okay,
like
we're gonna get.
don't.
You're gonna say Mao or something. I'm just waiting for it. You haven't mentioned Mao yet, so
I'm gonna look it up while you're trying to guess.
So I'm gonna guess the character's name. Okay, don't tell me what it is. I'm gonna think of a first name, and then Haley, you guess of just a random last name. Last name you come to mind. Okay. I'm gonna say the first one, then you say the last one. Okay. Vlad.
it's not a name.
Vlad, it's
Liam
not
Taylor?
a name. I remember that guy. Yeah, Vlad, it's not a name. What a great villain. I can't swear anymore. I already swore too much.
You'll just get quacked out.
Yeah, that's what I had to every episode.
He's always quacked out.
Oh, that's my secret. I'm always quacked out. No, I was gonna say was I remember
Okay, yeah,
watching.
okay, that's who it was.
Is it Vlad?
No, it's William Morgan Shepherd.
Is it
Way off base.
Is it helicopters?
Shush!
But jokes aside, though, I remember seeing the Atlantis sequel, and after I watched it as a kid, I was really confused by it. Like, why were there like 4 stories here? And then as I thought about,
because it was a TV show.
yeah, I figured that out in middle school. I was like, oh wait, I bet they were trying to make it a TV show. This is my understanding before Google, or right before we had access to Google.
Yeah, we're older than Google. Did you know that?
Just a little bit. Remember reference materials at the library?
Oh God.
That's one thing I'm thankful we have Google for. But yeah, no, I remember watching it and I thought, yeah, this looks like they were trying to do a TV show, which I don't know. I liked Martin Mystery more, but it's not a terrible idea for a TV show.
Yeah, and honestly, I think I could have come up with a better name for the TV show than they ended up going with.
What did they go with?
They went with Team Atlantis. I could have come up with a better name as a 10-year-old.
And Mike's sitting there like, we could have them as be like teenage spies and spandex, and then like.
Well, I originally thought of
angels.
them flying around the world in
And we'll call it-
B-17s.
And we could call it Totally Spies. Second idea.
No, I thought of Knights of Atlantis.
That's not a terrible idea.
Yeah. Well, it's better than Team Atlantis.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are starting to run out of time here, so I did want to talk about the memorial video that we made, the Memorial Day tribute, and I just wanted to go over a brief explanation, just to make sure that there's no confusion, especially with concerning the soundtrack that was playing over it. It's a chant called Vichnaya Pamyat, which means memory eternal. And this is just my understanding. I might understand this wrong, but it's a tradition in Eastern Rite Catholic churches and in the Orthodox Church, where when a faithful Christian dies, it's like their soul is stored in God's memory. Hence the prayer, which I am blanking. It's on the tip of my brain. Yeah, it's goes something to the effect of, "Grant, O Lord, eternal rest unto thy departed servant, and make their memory to be eternal." And no, I did not just totally bring up the video and rewound it to the beginning just so I can read the prayer right off of it. But yeah, that's basically what the chant is saying in the back is it's memory eternal. And it's within that context. So I just wanted to get that just to make sure there was no confusion. And of course, I prefer, me being me, a lot of you know that I've been leaning more towards the Byzantine rite of the Catholic Church rather than the Latin rite. And the Russian Byzantine rite sort of falls under that, which I think was the more powerful of the chants. And I just love their liturgical music. It's some of the greatest liturgical music ever.
It's the best thing ever. Listen.
I just broke Haley.
It's the best one I've listened. Listen.
I wasn't expecting that.
It's
the best.
Quiet. It's
That's it.
You are fake news. You are fake liturgy.
Wow. It's funny. I said to Haley, it's like I got your gift. I got the gift for such and such, and she's like, "Is it cafefe?" I'm like, "Yes, Haley."
How did you know?
And then she said in all caps, "It's what I always wanted." And yes, Mike, I do have my book quote ready to go.
Mr. Benks, book quote, go.
So it's actually from the Havamal, and it's a kind of a lighthearted quote with a little bit of weight to it. It's from verse 43 and 44. Be a friend to your friend, and also to his friend, but never be a friend to the enemy of your friend. Verse 44. If you have a good friend and really trust him and want good to come of your friendship, you should speak your mind with him, exchange gifts, and visit him often. This is a gift, by the way. And
Well, that's interesting to mull over. And just kind of off the top of my head, you think of Thomas Aquinas, which, his great work, the Summa Theologiae. Wow, I almost said that with a lisp. But that's basically Aristotle baptized. So that could probably be baptized into the Christian tradition too, to an extent.
join us. Join us.
For a second there, I thought you were saying China.
China.
Great, now we got two snorts on forever.
This is Thor from China, okay?
Do that.
I can't help it. I have to be me. I'm wonderful at playing the accordion, folks.
Oh my God.
3.
Just cut the show now. Don't even say goodbye. Just cut right there.
We are the Tangent Kings. Box up bonum. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, yada yada, hooray. Box up bonum. Hey folks, if you like our podcast, be sure to check us out on Facebook and also check us out on our podcast platforms, namely Anchor, Spotify, Google Cast, and others you can also find on Anchor. God bless.